Hello, and welcome to 5-Minute Math. Today we are looking at the 6th grade concept of representing additive and multiplicative relationships. This is 6.6c Readiness Practice, the Proficient version. If you are interested in exploring the 6.6c Readiness Practice for the intermediate or advanced versions, or the Readiness Practice resource along with any other standard, you can find those by using the link in the video description. So our first problem, we have a recipe that requires 3 cups of flour for every batch of cookies. All right, so Y is going to represent the total cups of flour needed. Let's make a table first. Then we can turn that into an equation. So our Y is our cups of flour. And then our X is going to be the batches of cookies. All right, so flour. And let's see, we've got X is our batches of cookies. All right, so we need 3 cups of flour for every batch of cookies. Okay, so here's what we're looking at. We're going to take our batch of cookies, and each batch of cookies is going to be 3 cups of flour. So really, it's going to be 3x. And so if I needed one batch of cookies, that's going to be 3 cups of flour. If I needed 2 batches of cookies, I'm going to have to double that to 6. 3 batches of cookies to 9. All right, so that's a table to help us. We need to write an equation. So typically what we do is we always write it in terms of y, or this is our dependent variable. So we always write it in terms of our dependent variable, our independent variable. That's where we start. That is our batches of cookies. So in order to find the cups of flour, what we do is we take our batches of cookies, and what do we do with it? Well, 3 cups of flour each. We're going to multiply it. So we're just going to simply write 3x. And there's no operation in between those two, which means we are going to multiply. So whenever you see a number next to a letter that's serving as a variable, and there's no add, subtract, multiply, or divide, you can always infer that we are dealing with multiplication. It's going to happen a lot as you continue in math. And the multiplication symbol kind of can get confused with the letter X. It can get confused with the decimal if you use the dot. So we just don't write it, and we just infer it. Secondly, we have a rental car that costs $20 a day plus initial fee of 30 bucks. So we need a table. All right, so let's write our table here. And I'm going to add something here. I've got X. So this is our number of days. And then we have our total, which is going to be Y, and that is the total cost. I'm adding something because I noticed when I was reading $20 a day, that's fine, but I have this initial fee of $30. Now that's going to stay the same for every single one of these rows, but check this out. If I wanted one day, what does it cost? Well, it's 20. I'm going to put 20x, $20 a day, okay? But I need to have this initial fee of 30. Okay, so it's 20x plus this 30. That's what's going to give me my y. So one day of 20 plus that 30, it's going to cost me 50 bucks for one day. But if I did 2 days, it's going to be 2 sets of 20. So that's going to be 40. That initial fee does not change. That's constant. And that's going to be $70. If I did 3 days, 20, 40, 60, plus that initial fee of 30, that's going to be 90. Now we see the pattern here. If I'm going up by ones on my x's, I'm going up by 20 on my y's because it's $20 per day. So that is a table that we can show. Now your table might not have that initial fee. You might just have the x and the y. So I will say tables may vary, but sometimes it's helpful to create that extra column in the middle when you have that constant, that initial fee that's not really changing. So day one is not just 20 bucks. I have to count the 20 bucks. That's the cost per day plus that initial fee, that constant of 30. And then finally in number 3, we have a graph. So we have a plant that is initially 10 centimeters tall and it grows 2 centimeters per week. All right, so let's do this same thing here. Let's create a table. And so we can have our x's. It's going to be weeks. And then our y is going to be height. So let's label these. And then let's do weeks right here. Now, we have that constant. We have another constant in there. We've got 10 centimeters. All right, so our x is going to be weeks. But it says it is initially 10 centimeters tall. So you know what that means? At 0 weeks, before it grew, and then we can say initial height is going to be that constant of 10. And then what is our total height? And that's going to be our y, total height. Well, before anything happens, it's just going to be 10. So what we're doing is after that, it's going to grow 2 centimeters a week. So it's going to be 2 times our weeks plus its starting height of 10 equal our y. So after 1 week, it's going to have grown 2 centimeters plus that initial 10. So that's going to get me 12. After 2 weeks, it's going to be 2, 4 plus that initial 10. It's going to get me 14. So you notice how we're going up by 2's, but it's going to be that initial height that's going to kind of change everything. So what we need to do is we need to make sure that, let's get one more point here. We have a scale factor that's going to allow for it to be 10. Because what I could do is I'm just going to skip count by ones here on my weeks. I'm going to be fine with that. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If I did that exact same scale factor, I would start off the graph. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just start with this. I will go, let's see, let's go 1, let's do 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So this will take me all the way up to the top of my graph the way I've got it worked out, and that should be fine. 16, 18, 20. All right, so let's change colors here so we can see it. All right, so my first point is going to be 0, 10. So at the 0 weeks, this plant starts at 10 centimeters. So it starts right there, 0, 10. Call that a y-intercept because it's sitting right on that y-axis. At 1 week, it grew 2 inches. So it's got an additive relationship. We're just adding 2. But it didn't start at 0. It started at 10. So 1, 12. And then at 2 weeks, it grew another 2 inches. So now we're going to be up here at 2. There we go. Let's get this 2 and then 14. And then at 3 weeks, it's another 2 inches. So you notice that we are just adding 2. The change here is that it intercepts the y-axis there. Hold our y-intercept at 10 because it starts at an initial value of 10. So I've got 4, 18. So it's just going to move up here. And then I need to scroll up just a little bit. We can get our last one here at 5, 20, right at the very top. If I wanted to extend that, I might have chosen a different scale factor for my y-axis. All right, so if you are interested in exploring the 6.6C Readiness Practice Resource aligned with the intermediate or the advanced version, or the Readiness Practice Resource aligned with any other standard, you can find those by using the link in the video description.